Brendan Mortensen here from the PNC Digital Desk, presented by PNC Bank. Brilliantly boring since 1865. Baltimore comes up short. Here's Tony Mansolino.
I looked over before his first inning. He threw a couple warm-up pitches, and man, the ball was really jumping through the zone. And I was standing next to Grant Anders, and he made a comment about whatever the vert on it was, and he kind of confirmed that it jumped through the zone. I just feel like kind of as we got in that third, fourth inning, it seemed like it didn't quite have the same life to it. Their hitters did a great job laying off some tough pitches, and I felt like they kind of got at some plus counts, put some good swings on the ball, and kind of got the ball moving in their favor a little bit.
You guys had an awful lot of scoring opportunities.
Yeah.
I mean, 17 runners in scoring position, only 3 for 17. What was happening out there?
You know what? It's kind of been a little bit of the story for most of the year. I do feel like it has trended up here recently. That bullpen that they got, and I think you guys see it, that's a heck of a bullpen. It's a really good baseball team. You know, and as you kind of look at that team and, you know, you look up at the scoreboard and you look at some of the offensive numbers, you know, and it's like, man, you know, they're whatever they were coming in the series, 29 and 23. I think as you see them over 3 days, I think you kind of get it. I think the strength of that team is probably that bullpen, and I think that's probably what beat us tonight.
Going back to Povich, have you seen him through second, third time through the order, that kind of being a trend of him struggling there? And is that something that you consider natural for a young pitcher to have to kind of adapt to?
Sure. Well, you know, you go back to his last outing, I think it was in Boston. It was pretty good. It was 5 solid innings against a tough lineup in a tough ballpark. So you felt really good about him, you know, as you kind of get in that fourth inning, the way the first 3 innings went, you felt good about where it was at. If you kind of go through the game and you sit there and think about, you know, it's a 3-0 lead in the third or the fourth inning. It's first and third, 1 out, and you got Herrera out, and that's a huge at-bat right there. That was probably the game-changing moment for me. I think right there, you know, if Herrera puts the ball in play, even if he cashes in the run and makes it 3-1, you know, it's 2 outs, maybe runner on first possibly, and you're saving a lot of pitches. I think, you know, he walks him right there. The bases get loaded, a couple runs score. He wastes a lot of pitches during that inning. Then he goes back out in the 5th inning. We need him to. You know, I think with the state of the bullpen and the freshness or lack thereof in our pen, he's got to go back out in the 5th. And then it's just a little bit tired at that point. They get a little bit more going. You know, and then on the contrary, you kind of look at their situation. They pull Mikolas, I think it was after 4. They got a really fresh bullpen, and it's a really good one. You know, and they bring in their pen in the 5th inning. Just the way they were set up, going into an off day for them is probably a little bit different than what we were able to do tonight.
How taxed your bullpen was? How big was it doing an outing like that from Matt Bowman?
You know, if we win that game, he's the MVP of the game. Even if O'Hearn hits a 3-run homer right there, which we thought he was going to. But, you know, if we walk that thing off, for me, the MVP is Bowman. He was outstanding.
That's all here from the PNC Digital Desk, presented by PNC Bank. Brilliantly boring since 1865.